G'day everyone, Buck up in North Queensland for a follow-up clip on my first clip of 2024, which was on my power station here that you see in front of you. If you haven't seen that clip, backtrack one and watch that. It's getting some really good views. There's obviously a lot of people out there interested in this type of stuff, guys. Batteries, lithium batteries, power stations and portable power, all that type of stuff. Now listen, disclaimer, if you are watching this video to get 12 volt advice, don't. I am the Russell Coit of handyman or whatever it is, and that's why I have this thing on standby. That is a fire extinguisher, because I don't trust myself. I've done a little bit of research and rung people up and asked them questions and all that type of stuff. So listen, if you're here for, oh, this bloke knows what he's doing, don't go from what I do, guys. Bloody do your own research, please, and seek advice from professionals, because I'm certainly not one. I'm the worst handyman in the world. But since I've retired a couple of years ago, I've found that I'm starting to do a lot more stuff myself to try and save a bit of money. Like, you can't just keep running to an auto elec every time you want to put an Anderson plug on and stuff like that. I've had 3 box air conditioners go in a month in the house. Can you believe that? Rather than paying 200 bucks a pop to get that taken out and reinstalled, I had to crack myself, and guess what? I pulled it off. 2 of them I had to actually put a bit of a timber frame on the inside because it wasn't quite as long, and I was pretty happy with my efforts. It's not professional standard by anything, but they're in there, they're working, they're keeping the rooms cool, and I did it myself, saved myself 600 bucks. So I found I'm starting to do more stuff myself. I'm starting to get a little bit more confidence with myself now. I don't come from a trade background at all, guys. I was in the army with no sort of trade, in the army, police and a prison screw. So I've got no handyman skills whatsoever. I just don't come from that background. Let's backtrack about 40 something years. They said, oh, your school grades are pretty good, mate. When I went to join the army, they said, come back down and do your testing to become an apprentice. And I thought, oh yeah, I was thinking of being a motor mechanic or a, I don't know, something trade-wise. And I got there all the way down to Brisbane when I was a young fella. I was only 16 at the time. And I got in, I was about to start doing my testing to become an apprentice, and then they came in and said, oh mate, we bum-drummed you. You're colourblind and you can't have a trade in the army if you're colourblind. So, i.e., hooking up the wrong colour wires and all that shit. I'm not that colourblind, but if you've got any sort of colour perception in the army, you couldn't be an apprentice. So fast forward then, I ended up at Kapuka and going into general entry type stuff. So that's why I don't have any sort of trade background. Absolutely useless when it comes to handyman skills. Got the handyman skills off my old man, and but as I said, starting to have a crack myself now in my older age, and it's good. Well, I've got time up my sleeve now. I can get on YouTube and do a bit of research, ring people up and ask questions and that. I'm going to have a crack myself. So if you've seen my first clip on this power station, one thing I said about it, I said I've got a 240 volt lithium battery charger, and I wish I could just plug it into the battery box if I ever need to use 240 volts to charge the battery up inside here, so I don't have to take 4 Allen keys out, take this lid off and put the Alligator Clips onto the M8 terminals. Anyway, I had a really good response to that clip. As I said, if you haven't seen it, backtrack one, and I do an in-depth thing on this battery box. Don't ask me questions, all the info's in the previous clip. Everyone's going, Trev Kelly and a heap others, and someone even sent me photos of his. But why don't you just put an Anderson plug on the end of your 240 volt charger and plug it straight into the battery box? Because I've got 3 spare Anderson plugs sitting here that I can plug in and charge up, and that way I don't have to take the lid off to get the Alligator Clips, because my 240 volt charger, this one here, which cost me about $400, guys, from Repco, I think I bought this. It's a CTEK, it's a 15 amp 240 volt charger. It can do normal lead acid batteries like your car battery, starter battery and all that. It's also got a lithium profile on there, and I've always been told, yes, you can charge lithium batteries up using a normal battery charger, but it won't quite charge them right up to full, it's best to have a battery charger with a lithium profile. This does, it's got lithium on there. So I went out, splurged, spent $400 a while ago now, but I can do both types of batteries. I've got another battery charger over there that does normal lead acid batteries, but it doesn't have a lithium profile. So I thought, oh bugger it, I've got lithium batteries now, one in the car, one in the BT, running the fridge, now one in the shed as a power station, one in the camper trailer here, got 128 amp hour and a drive lithium battery in the camper trailer. So I've got 3 lithium batteries to maintain, and if I ever need to, I can use the CTEK battery charger. The problem was the CTEK came with alligator clips, and I thought, and then everyone said put an Anderson plug on the end, and I went, yeah, okay. I kind of didn't really think of doing that because a $400 battery charger, I didn't want to go cutting the ends off it, putting an Anderson plug on. I didn't really think of doing that. And then when I did think of doing it, I thought, no, but what happens then if my car battery, the starter battery, starts getting a bit long in the tooth, and I want to do a recondition on that and get an extra 12 months out of it or whatever? Then how do I? It's got an Anderson plug on the end. That's no good to me. That's when I do need the alligator clips. Well, bugger me. I was going through my bag of tricks the other day, and I think this could be a kick-ass one that I've had for years. That's an Anderson to alligator. So if I go and I have snipped the alligator clips off the CTEK battery charger, I took the plunge, guys, and I thought, I snipped them last night. I snipped them off and went, you've got to go through with it now. There's no turning back. I was a little bit hesitant on doing it. There it is there. They're the alligator clips from the CTEK battery charger. And there's the end of it there. And if you're looking at that thing going, what's that, Buck? I'm going to explain it in a minute. And that created me another problem. Nothing's as easy as it seems, is it? So there it is. And I thought, okay, if I've got an Anderson plug on there, I can Anderson plug it into my battery box there, or the battery box in the BT50. But then again, what do I do if my starter battery on my car starts going flat? I need Anderson plugs. Well, I've got an Anderson, so I plug the Anderson when that has an into there, and I can still use the alligator clips on a lead acid battery. That then created another problem, and I thought, my God, how am I going to get around this? So the CTEK battery charger comes with this thing here, guys, and it's a temperature sensor. And that temperature sensor, I can't remember if it was the negative or the positive, but basically it slid in the way there. It basically, I won't put it on, it slides in there and sits there. So if that starts sensing that the battery's getting too hot or the alligator clips are overheating, I think the CTEK battery charger shuts down. It's like a safety mechanism. So that's a heat sensor. So I rang up Rob Richmond, guys, and Rob said, listen, you don't really need that. You can just insulation tape it. You don't really need to use it. And I thought, well, it's on the battery charger. I'm certainly not going to snip it off. And I thought, because this cable here has got these clips, the alligator clips, and there's nowhere for that heat sensor to go in. So what I'm going to do as part of an extra thing, I'm going to keep that Anderson plug on there. That's fine. I'm going to remove these alligator clips and I'm going to replace them with the original CTEK alligator clips, and that way I can still use my temperature sensor. And I said I've got to work out now, I don't know if it either goes in the negative or the positive. I think it might go in the negative. I'll confirm that before I go ahead. So I'm going to put these alligator clips. So what are we going to do with this little bloody home DIY thing? I'm going to attempt, and that is the big word here, attempt to put an Anderson plug on the end of my CTEK 240 volt charger. And I have to do it now because I've snipped the alligator clips off. To everyone who said just put an Anderson plug on, Buck, thank you so much. The other thing I was thinking, do I need to put a fuse in there? Someone out there sent me a picture of his and it had a fuse down here. And I thought, oh, now do I need to put a fuse on? And if I did, I don't know if I'd attempt to do that myself. I would have got an auto elect. But the alligator clips didn't have a fuse. And then I got onto a young auto elect that used to live next door to me, and he said, you probably find the Anderson plugs are fused inside the box anyway. He said, you don't need an Anderson plug. Got on to Rob Richmond, guys, and Rob said, nah. He said, you can, but you don't need to put a fuse there. And it didn't have a fuse when it had the Alligator Clips, so I can't see myself needing a fuse there either. So Anderson plug going on there, guys, and my Anderson to Alligator, so I can still charge lead acid batteries. That's staying on. Nothing wrong with that one. I'm going to take these ones off, and hopefully it's a matter of just taking the plastic off there, heating up the solder to slide it out. I'm hoping it's that simple. We'll soon find out. Heating the solder up in there, that's only held on by a bit of solder. Heat that up, slide that out, and then hopefully solder in the new wire. So we'll solder the new Alligator Clips on there. That's the thing. So one Anderson plug, take off the old Alligator Clips, put the new Alligator Clips on, so I can still use the temperature sensor on the CTEK charger there, okay? Because I don't really want to go snipping that off, and I'd rather use it. It's there for a purpose. If I can still use it the way it was intended, then that's even better. So what am I going to need to do this? Right, I went out yesterday. Last time I put an Anderson plug on, I went to plug my Engel fridge in a couple of weeks ago, and one of the wires was out of it. And I didn't do that. I didn't do that Anderson plug. That was done by someone else, maybe an auto elect or whatever. They'd only crimped it, and it came out. So I'm glad I was at home and not out bush or whatever. So what I had to do is resolder a new Anderson plug on, and I tried to do it with my fire starter, guys. That starts me bloody charcoal and all that. Let me tell you, this attachment here is the wrong tool for the wrong job. That's for starting the barbecue fires and charcoal and all that. So I went out yesterday, into town. There's a little electronics store there called Leading Edge Electronics or whatever, like a Dick Smith type shop, and he had the really good proper ones that I can use on my butane, so I can still use that out camping or whatever, but that's got a nice fine flame for actually heating up the terminal things, and you'll see that soon. So I went out and bought a proper one. The ones I get off eBay, and I've had a few of them, about $9 on eBay, they keep shitting themselves. This looks like a better quality one, and it's actually said it was for soldering that. So if you got those cheap butane cans, which you can use on just about anything, I went out and bought a $50 proper attachment for that. So it's good to have the right tools for the job, isn't it? It makes it harder if you've got the right tools. Speaking of wrong tools, I don't have a wire stripper. I've got a cheap one over there, guys, but it wasn't big enough to strip that size wire there. So I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to score it with a Stanley knife and then use my side cutters to get the insulation off it, okay? I've done it before and it works. If you've got, a lot of people have got those big bloody expensive wire strippers, you know, I suppose if you're doing it all the time, that's what you do. So remember the old lineys in Signals Corps, guys used to run the telephone cable everywhere. They didn't have wires, they just used side cutters, and the old lineys are just rip, and they were very, very good at it. So always ripping the insulation off the Don 10 cable. I used to run kilometres of that stuff out bush. So I'm just going to score around there with the Stanley knife, and then just take the insulation off with the side cutters. So it'll still work. What else have I got? Obviously, I've got the flame thing there. I ran out of solder, so I went and bought some new solder from Leading Edge Electronics as well. So I got a nice big new roll of solder. That stuff's not cheap either for a big roller. It was about $30 for a roll of solder. I just went, oh, I could have gone a super cheap and got a smaller piece. But anyway, I'll just keep that in my toolkit now. So if I ever need to solder something up out bush, I've got the capability to do that. What else do I need? I bought some heat shrink. I don't think I actually need to heat shrink anything, but I might have a go at heat shrinking. So I just bought a bag of assorted sizes heat shrink from Super Cheap yesterday. A couple of rolls of insulation tape just in case I need it. Black for negative, red for positive. Speaking of which, there's an old cable that come with one of the CTEK World battery chargers. It was a spare one, and they use blue for positive. So instead of red, that confused me a bit. So your black's still negative, and they use actually blue for positive. So if you've seen that before, normally everything I've done, it's always been red's positive, black is negative, but CTEK World ones have got blue for the positive. So there you go. If you see blue at times, just double check that it is definitely the positive if you come across that. So that's all we need really. I've got a little screwdriver if I have trouble getting the thing to click into the Anderson, a little tiny flat tip screwdriver. I can help push that thing in. Sometimes you do need that, you'll see that. Anyway, I'll stop jibber jabbering. That's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to put an Anderson plug on the end of my 240 volt charger so that I can charge my battery up in the battery box, just plugging it straight into one of these Anderson plugs at the end. That way I don't have to stuff around taking this lid off with 4 screws and that to get the alligator clips on. Just making things a little bit easier, and if I still need to use it for my lead acid battery on the car, and I've got the little Anderson to alligator here, but I need to replace these alligator clips with the CTEK one so I can use the heat sensor under there. Wish me luck, guys. Wish me luck. I think I can pull this off. As I said, I'm not a handyman. Don't follow what I do. If you're going to do anything like this, make sure you do your research. I'm going to have a crack myself. What can go wrong? I can blow my battery box up. I've got a fire extinguisher on standby there. I think it's lithium compatible. We'll see how we go. Anyway, I might go in, have me second coffee for the morning, get me nerves settled, and I'll tell you what, put it down in the comments. Let me know at the end how you reckon I went. Don't judge me on my handyman skills. I've told you up front, I'm shit. I'm not a good handyman. This is all new to me. I haven't done a lot of this type of stuff. I put a couple of Anderson plugs on, and it's like it worked, but it wasn't pretty the way I do it. There's probably a lot of people out there that do it a lot better and a lot easier than what I do it. I'm going to use the flood solder method. And if you're wondering why, I think I forgot to say this, Buck, why don't you just crimp them on? If you're out bush and that, you've got a crimping machine, it's probably the easiest way to go, especially if you've got to put an Anderson plug on out bush. The crimp comes undone sometimes, and it happened to me a couple of weeks ago on my angle fridge. Okay, the Anderson plug on there. I know who it was now. It was the bloody 12 volt fridge place up in Cairns. I got them to make that cable up for me, and they've obviously just crimped it. Well, guess what? After a while, one of the wires came out and it wasn't working. So I resoldered it, and that's where I've tried to do me soldering with that thing, and it was just bloody. I got it done. It wasn't pretty. That's why I went out and bought a proper tool for the job. So if you look at Simon's channel, guys, lock your hubs 4-wheel driving. Simon's got a great clip on there. Lock your hubs 4-wheel driving, sorry. Simon Musty. He does a great clip, and he does an experiment, and he puts an Anderson, he solders, he crimps, and he crimps and solders. And he puts the ohm meter on and everything, and the one that came up trumps for best electrical, for the best circuit and that, was the straight solder method. And I got onto YouTube the other night. I've watched it a couple of times actually, and there's a guy on there from Jamie's Touring Solutions, JTS. It wasn't Jamie himself, it was another guy, and he shows you how to put an Anderson plug on, and I'm going to do it exactly the way he did it, and it's called a flood solder. I'm not going to crimp it. Just crimp it on, Buck. I'm going to solder, guys. I think it's more reliable, and there's less. I've seen crimps on a couple of Anderson plugs now. We're out in the middle of Australia there once, and a bloke's Anderson plug come on. If you don't crimp it properly with a proper crimping machine, those bloody wires can come out. So I'm going to solder, and you get a better electrical connection when you solder. And as I said, Simon's proven that on his YouTube channel. He put the ohm meter over everything, and the solder came up trumps. So there you go. That's not just me saying it. Simon knows his stuff, and he's actually done the testing on it. I'm going to flood solder. That's the proper terminology. Wish me luck, everyone. Time for a brew, then we'll get into it. Righto, guys, this is where you start laughing at me. First thing I'm going to do, get the Anderson plug. So there's the end of the the 240 volt charger, and as you know, I've already snipped her off. Now, a while ago I bought some Anderson plugs. I think a set of 20 or something from none other than Kick-Ass guys. You can get them at super cheap and all that, but I bought I think a big packet of 10 or 20 Anderson plugs. Have a few sitting around the shed. You never know when you might crack one accidentally by dropping it or whatever. So yeah, Kick-Ass 50 amp high current Anderson style plugs, and they come with, that'll blow away on me, obviously the Anderson plug there, Kick-Ass on there. It's their own brand, positive and negative, standard 50 amp thing, and they give you 3 of the connectors, which is where we're gonna solder it in like that, guys. So they give you 3 in case you stuff one up. I probably should have a packet with 10 of those in, because this could go horribly wrong. But anyway, I'm doubting myself already. I'm gonna have a sip of my coffee, settle me nerves. Don't laugh at me, everyone. I don't even have wire strippers, not the proper ones anyway. So what I need to do, I'm gonna do the positive first. I need to, so I've got to solder that into there, okay? So I need to roughly work out, I'm going to strip him back to about there. Where my thumbnail is, I'll strip him off there. Now, I don't have wire strippers, guys, so what I'm going to do is just score around the sheath without, I don't want to cut through into the wires, just going to score it a little bit. Just score it slowly around. It's hard to see where I just scored it. There you go, about there. Righto, I don't want to go right through. Now I'm going to get my side cutters, and all going well is I may not have scored it properly. Slippery hands from the sweat. Here we go, it's getting there, guys. Come on. I can see wire, it's working. Oh, there we go. There's one. I told you I was useless, didn't I? There's one. So let's do the other one. Jesus. It's hot and I am sweating like you wouldn't believe. I should have got a bloody thing. So I'm going to measure that. I hope you can see this okay, everyone. About there. Righto. So what I need to do, right where my thumb is just score it again. I might score it a little bit more this time. Just want to score the outside of that plastic sheath. Got to get it in the right light there so I can see what I'm doing. Righto. Around there. Righto. See how we go. A set of wire strippers would be bloody handy, wouldn't it? Proper wire strippers. There you go. That one worked alright, so I've done it. So what I've done there is expose the wire on the end. So what I can do now is, there you go, and I've probably taken a little bit more off than what I need. Okay, it's just a little bit further, but what I'm going to do, if I can find where I put it, here it is. What I'm going to do is, before I do anything else, I'm going to put my heat shrink on. Red on red. And then that'll go into there. So once I solder the wire into there, flood solder it, that won't go over the top of that. I might get some bigger stuff. Stand by, I might get some bigger stuff that actually goes over the end of that clip there. So that's a little bit small. I might get the next size up because I want this to go up over there, so I heat shrink it so I cover all the bare wire up. Rightio. So I just went up the next size. I just got a packet of the super cheap assorted sizes heat shrink, and I've just tried it. This will, with a little bit of effort, it'll go over the end there, so I can heat shrink that on and keep it fully waterproof, if you know what I mean. So I'll do that. Let's slip that on over, the red one over the positive. Don't want to do a Simon from Lock Your Hubs 4-wheel drive, and he did all the hard work the other day and realised he hadn't put his heat shrink on. And I'll get another larger piece from in here. Which one do I need? This one here, I think. That one there. Throw the negative one over. Red positive, black negative, and that should, all going well, I should be able to get that over. Yep, that will. It's a tight fit, you just got to wriggle it a bit, and I can get that over there like that, and then hit it with a blowgun and heat shrink that on. So the next thing I need to do now, everybody, is the main bit is I've got to flood solder this and get the get it in there like that. So that's going to be the next bit. Righto, I'm going to have a few more sips of my coffee, make sure I'm doing everything right, sets things up, and we'll come back and we'll have a crack at the main guts of it, which is actually soldering these things. We're going to flood solder, I'm not going to crimp. Righto, moment of truth. So what I've done here, these things, you've got to have a way to hold them, guys. And the way I do that was an old alligator clip I had lying around in the shed, or a set of bloody those grip plies you can set to hold onto things. So that frees both my hands up now. I've got my solder ready. Okay, I wheeled out a bit of solder, got that ready to go, and I've got my gas torch. So what I'm going to do here is I've got everything ready to go, and the other thing, I'm going to put the negative on first. This is going to be the negative one. I've got it facing the right way, and when that's full of solder, that's going to go in like that. So I don't want to overfill this with solder, about 3/4 full. The other thing you want to make sure is just make sure all your wires are together. There's no little wires that are poking out to the side, otherwise when you go to poke it in, it's going to bloody prevent you from doing that, because one of the little wires will be poking out. So just make sure your wires are nice and neat there. Get it ready to go. And here we go. You ready for a laugh? See how we go. Turn the gas on. Here we go. What we need to do now is just heat this up. Jesus. Hang on, Buck. You don't want it like that. Here we go. And it's gone out on me. Told you I was a bloody hopeless. Here we go. Let's... No, I don't want it like that. Let's heat this right up. Righto. Fill him up with solder. And I've just made a mess of that. Righto. Keep that going. I've just overfilled that, guys, but I'm going to poke it in anyway. There we go. Turn my gas off. I overfilled it. See how the solder's come out there a little bit? Let that dry. The solder's come out there a little bit, which is not really what I wanted, but it is what it is. I'll put some heat shrink over that, so that'll cover that up. Doesn't take long to think, so I can take that off the clip now. And there we go. That's a flood solder. As I said, I put a little bit too much solder in. That flame bloody put me off a bit then. It's the first time I've actually used that. So you just want it on a small blue flame. You don't want it rearing up like you're starting a fire. So I've got to sort that out. I'll practice with it before I turn it on. So there you go. There's the negative one on. That's a flood solder. there is some solder out the top. I'll let that totally cool down now, and hopefully what I can do is, when it fully cools, I'm going to get that heat shrink over and just cover that slightly just up to there with heat shrink, and then we'll heat shrink that on there and hopefully look nice and neat. Anyway, that's not too bad. A little bit too much solder out there. People will go, you put too much solder in, Buck. Yes, I know, everyone. I'll try and get it right on the positive, eh? Bit late now, but that's still a good connection. Let's let that cool down. There you go. I've put the heat shrink. I've got it up just over, you know, 5 mil or so up over the tip of that Anderson plug connector there, the thing. What I'm going to do now is heat shrink that on there, hopefully. So let's give it a go. Going to use the heat gun. A lot of people, if you've got a proper heat gun with air, hot air, that's the way to do it. But Simon did his the other day with a heat gun. We just want to make sure it doesn't get too close. So let's heat shrink that on. Start him up. Here we go. Keep it away a bit. Seems to be shrinking down. You can see it shrinking there, guys. Try and turn it around a bit. Getting from the other side. That heat shrink nice and tight. How's that look? I won't touch that yet in case it's hot, but that heat shrink has heat shrunk over the end of the thing there. So that's a nice waterproof, where I had that little bit of exposed wire now, that's heat shrinked. So hopefully no corrosion and water can get in there. I don't know, what do you reckon? How do I go on that one? It's still bloody hot. I'll let that cool down properly, but there you go, there's the negative one done. I don't know, it looks all right. Right, so I've got this one in and I've got it pointed the same way as that was. So they're both gonna, when I put that in there, both these things are gonna be pointing the little thing curving down. So you want them both the same way, so you don't have to twist your wires. Make sure your little wires are all tucked in. Make sure you got that. I've got that in ready to go. It's facing the right way. I'm gonna try it. I'm going to try the torch in my right hand and solder in my left. I might be a bit steadier that way, guys. So, let's see how we go. Wish me luck. Right, let's heat this up. Righto, jam him in there. I overfilled that one a bit too. Anyway, so be it. And I can see that, geez, it dries quick, or whatever you call it. I have gone too full on that one again. A little bit too much solder. Anyway, that's okay. I can work with that. I've burnt the tip, the tip of that, the rubber thing, that's burnt. There's the first, but you can see there now, hopefully, I've got them the same way. Okay, and they're going to click into the Anderson plug now. That's the way I want them. Negative on the left, positive on the right, and they're going to click in like that after I do the heat shrink. But first of all, yeah, a little bit too much solder. I'll let that cool a bit more, and then I'll get my heat shrink over, and then I'll heat shrink that onto the positive. Rightio. So I've pushed the heat shrink just up over the thing there to cover up that little bit of exposed wire there. Let's heat shrink him up. Same as last time. Don't want to get it too close. It's amazing watching that, eh? I can watch that all day. There you go, it's got in. Underneath, a little bit underneath. Righto, quick while I'm ahead. Turn him off. And there you go. That's heat shrinked up nicely, and as you can see there, look at that now. I've got a good watertight in there now where, you know, where the end of the connector is. There was a tiny bit of exposure there. It's got all solder in there now. It's flood soldered, but I've also protected it with that heat shrink so nothing can get in up the back of it now. Stop corrosion and all that type of stuff. There you go. Well, I'm going all right so far. I don't want to count me chickens, but that's not a bad job, I don't think. What do you reckon, guys? How am I going so far? That's still a bit warm. I'll let him cool down. Then our next thing is going to be clicking these into the Anderson plug, and then our Anderson plug will be on. Beauty. Guys, I think I just forgot to turn the camera on when I clicked that Anderson plug on. I was giving you a description. If it didn't work, I apologise. The Anderson plug's on. Okay, the Anderson plug is on. If that, I just looked up and I don't know. If it didn't work, I apologise. But the Anderson plug is now on the end of my CTEK 240V battery charger. I hope that worked. I just looked up. I got a horrible feeling the camera wasn't on. Right. Now I know why I'm not an auto elect. Dead set. You should have seen behind the scenes then, guys. The solder job on this is atrocious on these things. The solder on there, I reckon they'd work. I don't know. But I wanted to put these on so that I can still use this heat sensor and slide that in like that. But when I'm charging up by an Anderson plug, I'm not going to be using that anyway. So I don't know. I'm not happy with the solder job. Soldering those on, boy oh boy, that's as rough as guts. There's solder everywhere. I don't know if I'd trust them. They probably work. I might get on to Kick-Ass and buy another Anderson to Alligator Clip. And at least I know it's done properly. I think I just butchered that, but I had a crack. And I'm sure it would work. There's still solder in there. I just clipped the plastic covers back on. So I've got Anderson to the CTEK, and if I wanted to use them on my lead acid battery now, I can still slide the that monitor in there, the heat sensor. I can slide that into the Alligator clip, whereas I couldn't do that with these ones. They're a different type of clip. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The main thing is now, and we haven't finished, well, I finished this, is I have an Anderson plug on my 240V charger. So this is where I get the fire extinguisher ready, and I'm going to plug this in, and I'm going to see if I can charge my lithium battery up using my 240V charger, plugging it into the end of the thing so I don't have to remove the lid. The moment of truth. I might just tape this up for now, guys. Can't see myself using it, to tell you the truth. I might just get some tape and tape that there, so I've still got the Anderson plug. I'll tape that up and we'll do the test and see if I've stuffed it up. I can only blow something up, can't I? Righto, before we do the final test, there she is, guys, my 240V CTEK lithium compatible 240V charger. There she is there, 240. I now have an Anderson plug on the end, not Alligator clips. But what I've done is I've got a Anderson to Alligator, so if I need to charge my starter battery in my in the BT50, which has terminal posts, I can still do that by having that extra little cable. Righto, let's see if she works. So here we go, I'm going to plug him into the 240 in the shed, plug him in, and I've hit the mode button there, and I've already got it set to lithium, okay? You see the lights flashing here, which means I haven't plugged it into any sort of battery or connected it to a battery. So this is where I get my fire extinguisher ready, and this is where I plug it in, and we see how she goes. I'll move the camera. Right, she's on 13.3 volts, 93%. Had that running the My Coolman 105 litre fridge last night, and it's still on 93%, so I'm pretty confident with that battery in there. Righto, this is the moment of truth. I've got him on standby. Me fire extinguisher. Jesus, I'm nervous. How's it going to go? Right. So, the light on the CTEK has just gone solid, which is, notice that it's connected to a battery now. And that takes a while, like the thing. So, the light stopped flashing, she's connected. And I've noticed that this battery box now has got a 13.4 volts, 97%. You can hear the CTEK battery charger winding up. It's a 15 amp, give me a rough head away from the camera a bit more. It's a 15 amp 240 volt charger, so it's not a big high powerful one. And we've got a 50 amp Anderson plug there. It's not fused. There's the heat monitor there. I can't see myself using that. I might just buy a new Anderson to Alligator clip and not worry about that heat thing. None of the other battery chargers seem to have that, just CTEK. So I don't know if I trust that one. I might have just butchered an Anderson to Alligator. But not a big deal. They're 20 or 30 bucks from Kick-Ass guys. CTEK now, I can hear it winding up like that, and goes through its 4 stages of charging, and it's on lithium profile, so you don't have to desulfate and all the different steps that are involved with a lead acid battery when you're charging them up or doing a recondition. Lithiums don't have to go through that. That's why there's a lithium profile on there. Desulfation and all this other stuff that lead acid battery things have. There's about 9 stages to a lead acid battery. I think it skips a few of those stages when you set it to lithium, because the lithiums don't have to go through that. I've said that about 1,000,000 times now. Anyway, there you go. 13.5, and it's up to 100%. So I'll just keep this battery charger on for half an hour. It was almost full anyway. It's just kicked to 13.5 volts, and the percentage thing's gone to 100%. It's not 100% yet, it'd be getting close. It didn't use much. That fridge must be pretty economical. It was already down to temperature. I had that running all night on that battery, the fridge. Took it off 240, threw it into my power station, so I'm confident now, after a cyclone, that big 105 litre fridge here in the shed, my power station can power that for quite a while, because it ran overnight and took nothing out of this battery, which is great news, isn't it? So there you go. I am now charging my battery, my lithium battery in my power station, using 240 volts via the Anderson plug. And there's a heap of yous out there. Trev Kelly was one of them. There was a heap of yous. Someone even sent me a photo saying, "Buck, put an Anderson plug on. This is how I've done mine." Thank you so much to everyone who did that. I really appreciate it. That was a thing. I just those Alligator clips, I butchered them with the soldering. Maybe if I had a soldering iron, I would have done a better job. But anyway, I got the Anderson plug on okay. It's working fine. 13.5 volts. It's on 100%. I'll leave him plugged in for a while. I don't think I need to go through. If that was down on 20% or something, I'd give him the full charge. But now I know that my 240 volt charger can work. And I'll just grab it. If I need to now use that, if I need to put that onto a battery with terminal posts, like my lead acid battery in my car, I can't do it via the Anderson plug. Or could I? Through the Anderson plug at the back of the car. I don't know if I could. Plug it into the back Anderson plug at the back of the car, which is linked to the starter battery. What do you reckon about that? Or would I blow my car up? I don't know, but what I would do, take that Anderson out there, plug it into that one, and then put these Alligator clips with dodgy soldering onto my other battery terminal. That's as rough as guts, but I reckon it'd still work. That'd still get me out of trouble. I might buy a new one, but I don't trust myself. There you go. Give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down. If you think I butchered it, let me know, guys. But the main task of this was to put an Anderson plug on my 240 volt charger. I've done that, did it by myself. I think I did a pretty good job, even with the heat shrink and that. I think I did a good job. Hopefully that come up on camera. And this battery's sitting at 100%, so what I'll do when I turn the camera off, probably just unplug it, turn it off. I don't need to keep it on charge. This battery's already full, but at least I know it works. Take it easy, be good to each other. Let me know if you enjoyed this clip. Do not ever take my advice when it comes to handyman stuff. I'm telling you now, don't do what I just did, guys. Do your own research. Don't say, oh, Buck did this and I just blew my car up. All right, I'm warning you. I'm warning you. Don't follow what I do. See you later. Be good. See you next time.